So the mouse is a point and click device. Basically, I can get a few pieces of information. I can detect whether it's been clicked, left click, right click, or middle click, and I can detect its current location. So for example, every update, I could actually change the value of the text string variable to reflect where my mouse currently is located. Now, when we want to detect the mouse location is both an X and a Y coordinate. Now, any subprogram is not meant to return multiple values. But what this subprogram will do, the getMousePosition subprogram, it's going to return back to us a vector2f. That's a new data type. We've mentioned it in a couple videos before, but when we discussed the mushroom position, but we're going to do it again. So this time we're going to create a vector2f, and remember, all vector2f is just a 2D coordinate on the screen. That's all it is, X and a Y. So I'm going to call this mouse position, and we're just going to set it equal to a new vector2f. We don't know where the mouse is right now, so we can just set it at 0f, 0f. There is a shortcut. We could just say vector2f dot 0. We should be able to. We just say vector2f dot 0. And that'll work the same thing as this one up here. It just sets it equal to a vector2 that has exactly 0f, 0f, x and y of 0. Okay, so now I have this mouse position. What I can do with this is I can use this variable. Currently this mouse position doesn't actually hold the location of the mouse. Now that mouse is going to change all the time. So basically what that means is every update I have to detect its current location. So what I can do is I can say mouse position is equal to input dot get mouse position, and that will actually detect it, return it, and store it in this variable called mouse position. So now I have it. I have the current location of the mouse. I can do whatever I want with it. For right now, all I'm going to do is display it. So I'm just going to say text is equal to, now we're just going to make some quick concatenation to make it look like an X and Y coordinate. An opening bracket, we're going to add on to that mouse position dot X, add on a comma to separate things, and then add on the final position, mouse position dot Y, and we'll add on a closing bracket for readability purposes. So now when we run our program, you can see that it actually reflects where our mouse currently is on the screen. We can go right up to the top, 0, 0. We can go all the way down to the bottom. Let's see if I can get it all the way over. I can't quite get over the edge. So we can't. It won't detect it off screen, but it will detect it on screen. So this is super useful to detect if we want to check to see if we're clicking on something at a given time. So we can get the mouse position. The next thing we can do is we can detect whether it's been clicked at all. So for example, just like we checked to see whether a key was pressed previously, I can check to see whether the mouse was clicked. So I can say, where is it? Sorry. I could say if input dot is mouse, if is mouse button released. Again, this detects whether I've actually let go of the mouse button. You could still use down and you could still use press, but we're not going to do that right now. Anyways, so we can detect any one of the three buttons where we have three options. We have input.mouse. Why is that not showing up? It should show up. Input mouse left, mouse mid, and mouse right. That will detect whether that specific button was actually pressed. And if it was pressed, we can do whatever we want with it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of getting the mouse position every single update, I'm going to get the mouse position when I click. So what that's going to do is it's going to produce a resulting effect of knowing where the last location I clicked was, because it only changes when I click. So let's go back into our program and run it again. So you notice it's staying at 0, 0, until I click. Now it's continually updating. It's continually updating. Why is it continually updating? Oh, it's continually updating because the way that I detected mouse position. I made a mistake. By doing this, by setting mouse position equal to input.getMousePosition, I've actually assigned it to a memory location. That's not actually what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to copy the data from the real mouse position to my variable mouse position. So in order to achieve that result, I'm going to do this one coordinate at a time. And that will solve our problem. MousePosition.y is equal to input.getMousePosition.y, and so on and so forth. So now if we run it, we shouldn't get that constant update, which was breaking our program. So now it only checks where I last clicked. Now this is useful because now I can do things like check to see whether I clicked inside that mushroom. Right now I'm not doing that right now, but I can. By using the mouse position, basically I want to say, is the mouse position between the left and the right wall of that mushroom, and is the mouse position between the top and bottom wall of that mushroom? If all four of those checks are true, then yes, I clicked inside the mouse, or clicked inside the mushroom. That'd be great for like picking up items, maybe in a menu, clicking on buttons, all sorts of things like that. That's called point-to-box collision detection, because remember, every one of our images is basically just an imaginary box that surrounds that thing. So as long as we click in that box, that means it's a valid click. Yes, that will pick up clicks like right here, for example. But that's something we can check out later on. So that's mouse collision. Very easy. We can detect individual buttons. We can get the mouse position. Now remember to use this method, otherwise you're going to get data that you don't expect. So make sure you use this one, which actually copies the data, the individual coordinates, into our variable itself. And here we're just displaying it. You don't have to just display it. You can use it for all sorts of purposes, as I said, such as collision detection.